This is your TK Precedent C600 bits. Your gateway will be going on the top compartment, left-hand side. The harness will be running across, connecting to the micro on the inside of your control box. You will require an 8-foot ladder to open up the hood and the top left-hand door. This support part that you will engage this latch to prevent the hood sweeping down and hitting you. On the top left-hand door, we have three 10mm bolts. 1, 2, and 3 that you have to remove. Left side of the TK reefer unit, you will install the gateway in this spot. You have one bolt at the bottom, one bolt in the middle. You will line up right against this middle bolt. Do not go any higher or any lower. You will go in this exact spot. To protect the evap from any damage, you will mark the 3 holes that you're going to drill. You're going to hold your drill bit at this angle. Not want to hold it at this angle. Your knuckle or your drill, if it catches, will sweep and hit the evap. The idea is not to damage these fins, to block the airflow to cool the evap. You'll get our 5/16 1.5 inch protection and pre-drill each hole. not want to tighten up all the way yet. After installing a gateway, we'll connect the harness. You will run this part of the harness behind this storage hinge and this storage hinge. Slide these two together and then jimmy the fuse holder behind the hinge. Top door hinge. Do not pull on the harness. Allow some slack. Repeat the same process for the bottom hinge. Want to tuck the wire towards the back end to avoid rubbing up against this front copper pipe. When you apply the zip tie, you want to make sure there's not enough slack where it's going to be rubbing against anything. You will apply a zip tie this bottom hinge. You can fold zip tie at 2 spots. To help retrieve. Even though it's tedious to insert the zip tie, it is still required at the bottom door hinge. Ready? Once you zip tie at the bottom door hinge, you're going to feed the wire inside of this welding. You can slide the harness underneath this welding, and it's going to come underneath this frame and appear on the other side. The trick is to try to keep the fuse holder flat. Through. You can peel back this bottom cover a little bit. To allow you some wiggle. Once the fuse holder makes it past this way, you would just go on the other side of the door. And pull this way. In order to install the Cooltrax harness into your control harness, you will need to remove 5 screws on the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Before opening the control box, you want to make sure the microprocessor switch is off to avoid any arcing. You're going to pull the whole box forward, and you're going to remove this cover that has 3 screws that are 10 millimeter each. 1, 2, and backside is 3. I recommend an electrical ratchet. Please be careful with the fuse holder to make sure you don't remove any wires from the factory harness. Your third-party harness is located at the bottom of the micro box. The third-party harness will have two inline fuse holders from the factory. This will also be the same harness that your power fleet would have tapped into for display power. Before connecting into the third-party harness, you want to connect your ground. Your ground on the microboard will be labeled as CH. Will be your ground source for the Cooltrax harness. Do not use an impact to loosen or tighten on this stud. It is sensitive. You could loosen it by hand. Please be careful, do not lose the bolt. You will remove the lock washer and washer if it has it. The main one you want to remove is the lock washer. You will insert the ground behind the factory harness. Insert the lock washer. If your nut is too far back, you will have to remove it out of your socket to install. Lock washer back on. You install the nut. And tighten by hand. Then from there, you're now able to plug in to the third-party harness. This is third-party harness from the factory. This is Cooltrax harness. You will apply zip ties to the harness. cover to the control box, please make sure on the top and on the sides and the bottom, no wire is going to be pinched. To put on the back side of the micro or the control box, you will install the back bolt first, then the top, then the front side. I'm applying the back cover to the control box. You want to finger tight the back bolt, and you will install the top bolt. Then insert the front bolt. Once all bolts have been threaded on by finger and have grab on the threading, you can use your electrical ratchet to tighten up the bolts. Here, you will continue sealing up the control box. Not be applying a zip tie to the back side. When you do close the control box, you want to make sure the harness is not pinched between the control box and the back. This is why we do not apply a zip tie, to allow it the fluctuation to move and sit comfortable between the two. From this point back to the gateway, you will be applying zip ties. Once you finish the install with the control box, the zip tie points to the frame for the harness is going to be one at this location, another at this location, another at this location on the frame. And then over here, if you have any slack remaining, you will roll it up and zip tie to the frame. zip tie the harness to the fuel pump or the fuel line. You want to zip tie the harness to the frame, the right side of the fuel pump. After applying the last zip tie to the harness, you want to confirm the gateway is powered on. The red light will be flashing before butting out. Once you confirm that the device has received power, you can continue your butting out process and close all doors. Safely, you can turn on the TK Precedent by pressing the on button. You have 30 seconds before the engine